Welcome back to the Cigar Lockdown, everybody. Sammy Phillips and Clay Roberts, joined by the master of tobacco, master cigar roller, my brother from another mother, Hamlet Paradis. Hamlet, welcome to the
I
show,
love it.
man. How are you?
Thank you so much, man. I'm so fine right now, smoking a cigar outside of my house, and I'm so glad to be here and be with you. I miss you.
Look
Yeah,
at
we
you,
miss you
man.
too, brother. We
Yeah.
miss you too.
Look.
Looks good, Flaco.
Flaco, handsome. Look at you, baby.
I like it. Ham, I'm smoking the Tabaquero right now, the
You
cigar
are?
that you put in the Cigar Lockdown. I love this cigar.
Fantastico.
Big and bold, just like you, my brother.
Okay, so you said I was skinny. Now you call me big. So it's
Well,
okay.
that's
the
true. I met your
personality,
personality.
inside.
I know.
He's Cuban.
I
You know he's going
I
to call us on all our shit.
Oh yeah.
So I'm smoking 2020 Hamlet cigar. I
Nice.
know everybody hates the year. It's been a bad year, but I mean the cigar is good. Not everything in the 2020 is wrong. So this is one of the good things that we had in the 2020, and I just want
Fantastic.
to say that.
Yes, absolutely.
What are you
Absolutely.
smoking, Clay?
Same. Tabacero, Baba. It's
Okay,
delicious. Just lit it up. Very happy. I'm very happy to be here with you. You're one of our friends and family. And, we all spend a lot of time together because your office is, what, a mile away from us. So we have
yeah.
lunches and dinners and breakfasts and drinks at night sometimes when it's allowable. And, you are a true family to us.
Okay, go ahead, kill me now. Ask me questions, and I gonna answer them if I can. So
Sure. So Hamlet, let's kick this off. Last time we had a show, it was about 10,000 people who watched the show. So God willing, when we air this on December 30th at 7 o'clock p.m., there will be thousands and thousands of people watching. And I want to tell these people a little bit about your journey. I want them to get to know the Hamlet that Clay and I know and have grown to love. So, coming out of Cuba, your experiences while you were in Cuba, the sort of the history of where you came to be, and then sitting on the Habanos, and rolling on the sommelier panel, and then coming to the United States, working alongside of Rocky Patel and the camp over there, and making these amazing, delicious cigars. So let's start in Cuba and how you began to start rolling cigars.
okay, here we go then. Trust me, it's gonna be the first time I'm gonna be talking about this. So I don't know. I never did this before in my life. I never talk about my life.
Okay.
You know. So okay, I was 17 years old, and I joined the Partagas factory in Havana. And believe it or not, being in the cigar industry is my first and only job in my whole life. So I don't know how
Awesome.
to put a picture on the wall, or I don't know, maybe to move a chair around, but I kind of know how to make a decent cigar that somebody gonna give me back and a smile. So I started in the Partas factory 17. 2 years later, I became, for random things in life, the second manager of the whole rolling department in the whole factory, which he was really, really tough. You know, the youngest one behind me was like maybe double my age, and I deal with that. I learned. Made a lot of mistakes that brought me to learn a lot of things. And after that, my mom, which is a big part of my life, still alive, since God.
Thank God.
Um, at the same time, just obligate me literally to learn this kind of language that sometimes, we were joking around before. I was telling you the name of my dog, and you were making fun of me. It's okay. I love you.
I love it too.
Which is called the English language. So it's okay. And so that just opened up my whole horizons. Like to be able to be the only young kid in Havana making cigars and speaking in English and trying to get communicate with somebody At the same time, I was like a kind of like a pioneer. I would not say I was the first one, but I can tell you I was the first one that began to push this brand new generation to the war. So,
Yeah.
Love it.
and I'm very proud of that for myself.
Of course.
You know, and later on, all these young kids like me that came to the industry together with me, and we make it happen. You know, it was so tough for us to be able to get out of the country. That was a freaking dream that nobody, I mean, everybody was dreaming about it, but nobody was looking at that as a fact. So I made that happen. I was lucky enough in Cuba to be able to travel all over the world almost and represent Cuban cigars, be myself, and make a lot of friends, which at the end of the day, I believe in my short life, I'm 45, is my biggest treasure, you know, meeting people, mainly cigar lovers and, you know, human beings all over the world. And destiny just brought me here, which, by the way, I said this before, the US wasn't my first choice. My first choice was Canada. That's why I have to force myself to learn freaking French in like 7 months to try to go through, which I did, uh, a French people interview to get the visa to Canada. But that never happened. And I believe that since in life happens for a reason. And I'm very glad that I end up here instead of Canada because Canada is, you know, I don't want to say that because I don't know who's watching this, but
It's cold.
right now the country is out of cigars almost, and it's so hard to be there smoking cigars. So I I never met Rocky in my life before. So because of I met so many people around the world, it happened to be that I was at the right time with the right people uh, in 20 end of 2014, and with two of my best friends. One is Rob Ayala from Australia.
Yeah.
He's a Cuban distributor in the city. The other guy is Rob Fox, which is the owner of one the oldest cigar store in the world. And I had a seat with them at the end of 2014, and I took them out. We were having dinner with another 40 people, and I said, "Guys, I need you for like 15 minutes. Let's go to my house. Let's have a chat." And I told them, I proposed myself. I said, "Listen, I gonna tell you something that if I didn't trust you guys, I never gonna do it. But because I'm gonna tell you, here we go. So I'm done. I need you guys to help me. I need to get out of here. I'm done here." So, and this is something that I always wanna do and say. I'm never gonna get tired to say. The first that they offered me was a contract with them, separate. And I said, and coming from them that they only dealing with Cuban cigars and Cuban government, I mean, it was like beyond anything else.
It's a very
I
big deal.
knew and they knew.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It was a very, very big deal.
I mean, it's like if I'm telling you, can you give me a job? And then Rocky is behind the scenes, the same things they did. It's like, okay, I'm with
Watch out,
Havana.
Rocky.
No, no, they said, no, no, I'm just trying to explain to you something.
Of course.
They said, you come with me and I don't care. And that, you know, that's priceless.
Wow.
And I said,
Amazing.
guys, I love you both. And I really honor that you want to give me a job, but I want to be free.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking for a contract. I'm looking for my freedom. So, and I knew what my freedom was. But they told me, you know what? They look at each other, look back to me, and they were like, listen, let's go back to the freaking dinner. Let's get drunk. We're so happy that you decided to do that. Let us go back to our country later on. We're gonna make some phone calls. We're gonna call you back. So 2 weeks later, I was barbecuing at home in Havana on Sunday, and Raw Fox called me. I said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, having fun, having a few beers, barbecuing." And he said, "Okay, have a seat because we have very good news. We made a few phone calls, and we get a few phone calls back." And I said, "Hold on, who was the first guy that called you back and said I want Hamlet in my family?" He was like, "Well, this guy called Rocky Patel. Do you know him?" I said, "No, but you know what? That's the guy.
It's amazing, right?
That's the guy. Tell me when and how, and I'm gonna buy my ticket, and I'm gonna go to Canada, cross the border, and get the interview. Just send me up with an interview." And I don't know if people know that, but I did that. So I put, when I do events around the country and around the world, and people ask me the same question, I said, I didn't know how big my little nuts were until I realized myself almost like 5 months later that I did what I did, like give up of whatever I was fighting for and building for 39 years of my life, and then forget about that, went to a different country, put in 39 years of my life in two luggage. And I invite you guys, try to do that. Because I've been living here for 6 years. I cannot fit, only with my shoes, I can fulfill a few luggage. So I did 39 years of my life. I put them in two luggage. I got my 3-year-old kid, my wife, and I just went to the US. I came here with an interview with somebody that I never met in my life. So far, so good. When I found Rocky and we just had the interview, it was like, I remember I told him, shit, man, like, thank you. Like I wasn't expecting this. And whoever, which I believe we are a lot of us that came to this country from a different country, and it's so hard, first of all, to do what you were doing in your country.
Sure.
So most of the people gotta just do whatever they have to do just to go out. So for me, I remember when he brought me after the interview to Burn, and I just walked inside Burn, and I saw the atmosphere and all that. I turned to Rocky and said, "Bro, this is like I feel like a home here. Like
Amazing.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
And so far, it's been so good. So
Ham, I think that the story is an amazing story, and I just want to, speak to the people, everybody who's watching this right now, and let them know what a big deal it is, and it was for anyone to be appointed the manager at the Partagas factory. I mean, it's a lifelong position. It's a lifelong dream for almost anybody who works in tobacco in Cuba, and you did it at such a young age. And I know that
yeah, but him. So let me just. I wasn't the manager of the whole factory. I was the second manager of the rolling department,
right,
which is the most difficult thing to handle in the whole factory.
right,
Yeah.
So to be, and I had a lot of stories, like big part of my job was to walk around in the morning and take the cigar for each one of these 300 people, put it inside to check it out, the gauge and the lamp. So I never gonna forget in my life, and that was what brought me to learn how to make every single size, because I had no clue. I knew how to do maybe 15, 16 sizes before I got that position. So I never gonna forget my first awful experience doing that in the morning. I took a torpedo, which I had no clue how to make. And it was one of these rainy days. The wrapper just gets so moist, and you should not even touch it. And because of my inexperience, I was dealing with one of the, which I realized later on, was one of the worst women's, all women's that was in the Galera. And I took the torpedo, got it through the sepal, the gauge,
Yeah.
and I destroyed the whole wrapper. And then after that, she's like, "You see what you did? You didn't even know how to freaking wrap or make a torpedo." And I felt myself really, really bad because honestly, I didn't know how to do it. I was
Right.
19 years old, just graduated from the school in the factory. So that just pushed me. That was the very beginning. Like, okay, so Hamlet, now you gotta learn how to make torpedoes, salamans, diademas, everything. I don't want nobody to tell you again, if I screw it up, you cannot fix it. You cannot make it again. So that was part of my very beginnings.
Amazing.
It's an amazing story. And then I know that you were on the sommelier panel, right, for the Habanos festivals many times where you were rolling in front of these people. And I think you got some awards there as well, right?
Yeah, no, I did that a lot, but my award was so. Um, I went to Portugal and I was living in Portugal for a year. So when I came back, my company, I mean the company that I was working for, they were opening a new cigar shop. So they offered me if I want to be the roller in that new store, and I said, yeah, of course. So and they invite me for the first time after I don't know how many years, like 20 years, to the top 10 rollers in the country, and I was like,
Wow.
okay.
Crazy.
So for you guys that you don't know the difference between making cigars with the molds and the press in the factory, there is another way. It's a very old-fashioned way to make cigars that we call it free hands. So that you got to make a cigar instead of like 45, 50 minutes getting pressed and molded and all that. We do it in 4.5, 5 minutes from the beginning to the end. Any
Crazy.
size, any shape. And it cost me 17 years to learn that. So, and I said that myself. It cost me, I knew how to do it, like maybe in 2 years, but I wasn't ready to make any size. But so the competition was all about to the 10 of us, we have the same tobacco, the raw tobacco, and we have to make 25 torpedoes, free hands, no molds, no press, nothing, and 25 robustas. And then we gave it to the panel. Nobody knew who was who. And it was a matter of presentation, quality, making, but the main thing was the flavor, the blend, and everything. So I was the youngest one, and I was maybe like 23 years old, and the youngest one behind me was like maybe 40 something. So, and I do remember something that I always said that is like we had dinner before the event, and now I'm working with a lot of people that they were the ones that teach me a lot of things in the Partagas factory or in the company that I was working for. And most of them, they were more like my grandpa's mom, dad's, like
Sure.
Right.
competitors. So, and I do remember that the guy that used to be for like 20 plus years, the second director of the Partagas factory. And by the way, he was the one that chose me to be the second manager
Wow.
of the
Crazy.
Galera. He came to me and he was like, "Hey, son, who do you think is gonna win this tonight?" And now I'm getting everybody's attention. And I said, "You know what? I already won this." Then now you cannot say that if you're not ready to be killed. If you said that in front of these
Sure.
old people, and then everybody just look at me funny, like. And I said, "You know why? Because even before I was born, all of you guys were traveling around the world making cigars, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be for whatever how long it takes this night. I'm gonna be, which I don't believe I deserve this, at the same level of you guys. And guess what? I was the freaking guy that won the freaking competition,
It's
Very
amazing.
and that
cool.
was my night, my moment in my life. So after that, my life just did open huge, and I began to travel. I began to I I, I was Hamlet for the first time.
Yeah.
After that,
I mean, what an amazing story!
Yeah,
What an
very cool.
accomplishment! It's Ham. It's got to be very wild to go from a situation like you were in Cuba and traveling around the world and meeting all these people and making all these new friends and sharing your passion and your love for cigars, and then you cross the border with a dream of taking more of your dream to the world. You have your own brand of cigars. You're working with, you know, somebody who's as successful as Rocky, and the guys at Rocky Patel Premium Cigars, and it's your name, man. It's your name on the brand, and I mean, Clay and I are is we're not blowing smoke up your ass, but we're so proud of you, and we're so proud to call you a friend and a brother. And what has it been like? What has the transition been like since you've been in the United States? I know that you're traveling to Nicaragua and you're working with a milk car out of the Rocky Patel factory, and I'm sure that you brought some of your knowledge or most of your knowledge and changed the way that all the things are happening
Yeah,
across the board.
absolutely.
I mean, I could, we could see it, we could taste it. It's amazing. It's got to be just so amazing to be working with these guys and forging forward. What's it been like, brother?
I mean, I can be here my whole life trying to tell you how many things happened to me. Uh, First of all, it's like it's so different. When you come for like
Yeah.
the I spent my first. I've been in the business for 29 years, but my first and only ones, all I knew was all about Cuban cigars, Cuban tobacco, and Cuban smokers. So for 23 years, so you cannot just take a switch and put it down and put it
Yeah.
up wherever you go. So coming to the U.S., it was a big, big uh, impact to me, like in so many ways. I knew what I was focused on, and I don't want to be that sentimental, but to me, crossing the border, I was a son of a bitch. I was a winner already. I
Yeah.
was free. I knew that. So I said, you know what? I got what I was looking for, what I came here to look for. So whatever it happens now, it's gonna be a gift. If I can keep doing what I've been doing, good. If I cannot, and I'm gonna end up driving a truck or cutting a lawn, I'm fine with that. But it happens to be that I kept doing what I was doing, and that brought me to any other, uh, situations. Like it's so different, the way it is with Cuban cigars and Cuban cigar smokers versus this industry, which it is the biggest industry in the whole world, which
Well,
I'm very proud to be part of it.
yeah.
And but it's totally different for a guy like me that only knew about Cuban cigars, and I learned so much, and that was the best that I loved from this adventure. It was like I hate monotony. I hate to be doing the same thing every day, and for me, it was like die and be born again in the industry after 23 years. So I have my base of knowledge, but I didn't know anything about, and I'm very proud to say that I had no idea about Dominican, Honduran, Costa Rican, Mexican, Nicaraguan tobacco. I had no idea. So I do remember we were crossing the border, and my wife was like, we don't know where we want to live, the rent and this and that, the car. And I was like, inside myself, I was like, I don't care about that. We can solve that later. I don't know what is gonna happen
Yeah.
when I sat in front of tobacco that I never touched, and how it's gonna taste like. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make something with that or not. So, thankfully, man, I never gonna forget that minute later in my life
Sure,
ever. When I
sure.
did the first blend with Honduran and Nicaraguan tobacco, and I put it in my mouth and I tried, I was like, God, thank you so much. I can do something with this. And
Well,
I'm still learning. You know, I only been here 6 years next year in January, but I don't know, as other people that have been here for so long, I've been working with these different tobaccos. No, but I know a little bit better and more than 6 years ago. I can guarantee you that.
well,
So
well. Listen, Hamlet,
I still learn.
you gave a gift in to the consumer in the Tabacero. Tell us a little about the cigar. I mean, that's in the pack. This Tabacero is a fantastic cigar made in Nicaragua, right?
Yes. So everything that I do it in Nicaragua, and I don't want to miss Amica in this because Amica have been my other half.
Sure.
You know, it's so easy for me, and we said that to each other. You know, like now that the best that happened to both of us is to meet each other before.
Tell everybody who
Like
Amica is if people aren't
so,
familiar.
Amica is a as a personal. I'm gonna okay. So it's a brother now for me,
Of course.
and it's a blender. It's really amazing master blender. It's a farmer, which I miss that. I'm not in the farmer side. I'm more like into blending, making, and selling.
Yeah.
That's me. And kind of like he always joke around with me when I'm been with him so many times in SLE, and he said, "Man, you know, God knows, I'm gonna I'm gonna grow the tobacco, I'm gonna put it in your hands, and then you blend it with me, and then you sell it. That's your gift.
Yeah.
I cannot sell, and you cannot farm." I'm like, I'm fine with that. I'm learning with you, and I try to teach you how to sell. And I said, no, we're never gonna go either way. So Amica is the co-owner with Rocky of the Tavicusa factory in SLE. It's a very small factory, uh, and I think it's the best that happened to me in my life. Uh, Besides him, you know, that small factory, you can do whatever you want as a blender when you go smaller. It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy to control the quality, the consistency, and everything. And
And so the Tabacero is a creation that you made in the factory there, Tabacusa, with Amica.
yeah,
And
so go ahead.
no, no, I'm so curious about the cigar because people love it, and it's absolutely a fantastic stick, and it's a shining star in the pack.
So Tabaquero was actually my first blend, the first brand that I made in the U.S. So it was my first non-Cuban tobacco coming out of my hands. So I got my biggest challenge when I made that was so I said to myself, I'm joined Rocky Patel Premium Cigars, which is one of the top guys in the country
Absolutely.
and in the world.
Sure.
In the world.
So I had
Absolutely.
a big shoes to fit in, and I said, as a blender, I always tell people, you don't have to be a blender. You can be a chef, you can be a bartender, you can be somebody that creates something that is yours, and you want to put it out there. And the worst that can happen to you is that when somebody takes what you create and compare that to something that they have
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
So if you look at it
yeah.
in the business way, I start with the wrong fit. I came to a medium to full body cigar, but that was my only choice. So Rocky was fighting with me. He's a master. He is a master of marketing. He's like, Hamlet, you got to make a mild to medium cigar. And I said, I'm not a mild to medium smoker. This is the first time I'm gonna be playing with something that I don't know, and I never gonna put out there something that I don't like. I cannot
Yeah.
be 1 year, year and a half around
Yeah.
the country smoking something that I don't feel like. And then after so many days and weeks, it was like, you know what, do whatever you want,
I
and
love
then we
that.
fix it up on the road.
I love
So
that.
my number one goal was to make something totally different than any Rocky Patel cigars. So I'm part of a company. That's my family. I'm very involved with everything there. and I'm very proud of that. But I wanted to do my touch. I wanted to make something
Yeah, of course.
different. And that's music to my ears. When we begin to give that cigar to people and people try it, and they were like, "Wow, that's a heavy cigar." But you know what? It doesn't taste like a Rocky Patel cigar. And I'm
No.
like, "Thank you very much, thank you so much," because I mean, Rocky is a master. He's been for so many years, and he's all over the graphic. He has mild, medium, mild to mediums, medium to full, medium plus,
Everything.
full body, everything. So it's so hard for a maker to get in to that family with something that nobody can compare to what. And I think I actually nailed it. It was so different. It's that cigar is all Nicaraguan fillers. The binder is a combination of half is Matafina Brazilian, the other half is Mexican San Andres, and the wrapper is Mexican San Andres Maduro. And there is a very now I can laugh about it. Now I can have fun with that. But when that happened, I wasn't that happy. So I had no idea about any regions, countries of origin of tobacco. I didn't have my green card, so I wasn't able to go to Nicaragua. So what Rocky did was he brought me every single tobacco that I was able to put my hands in from all over the world.
It's
And then
amazing.
I made a mistake. I make a little mistake. I made a little mistake. I was thinking that every package that says a region and didn't say the country, it was Nicaragua. So I finished my blend 6 months and a half later. I did 187 blends,
Wow.
and we released somebody. I do remember somebody called me. A friend of mine from France called me. I was like, "Hey, buddy, did you see the Cigar Aficionado? They actually they did the official, you know, press of your cigar. They're talking about your cigar." So I get into the CA website and I begin to read that and said, okay, wrapper is Mexican San Andres Maduro, uh, fillers are Nicaraguans, binder Brazilian and Mexican. Then I freak out. I'm like, what? I never used Brazilian, so I begin to call Rocky, Nimish, Nish, everybody. I make everybody crazy. They were on the way to have like a holiday in the Bahamas, and they were at the airport and freaking everybody out. And then I'm calling marketing, everybody. I said, I never touched Brazilian. What are you talking about? So then, like 15 minutes later, Nimi called me back. I was like, Hamlet, calm down and please tell me every single one of the leaf that you use in your blend. And I said, okay. Mexican wrapper, Nicaraguan Jalapa Condega Salí in the fillers, and then Mexican half the binder is Mexican. The other one is Matafina. What the hell? There's no Brazilian in there. It's like Hamlet. And you guys know him.
Of course.
Hamlet.
Oh yeah.
Matafina is from Brazil. Can I please just go to the Bahamas and have a good time? And you just come down, have a drink. So that's the reason I said this is like that's how lost I was in names and regions. But at the end of the day, what I believe is matters is like I wasn't even thinking what was what. I was just following what my pilot just told me what to put with what, and it took me a long time, 6.5 months. So, and but that's a true story. So, Nim is not bluffing about that. Right? It's a true story that he wasn't, and he been, and he would be telling everybody for the rest of his life.
Of
So,
course.
Well, of course,
gonna
that's his
make it,
job.
First time you caught Nimish not bluffing.
Yeah.
Hamlet, what is it that you want? Look, man, on December 30th, we're going to be in front of thousands of people. What do you want them to know about within the Rocky Patel portfolio, the brand Hamlet, and what it is that you're creating, and what do you want to tell them to get them out of their seats, get into a local brick and mortar store, and to try Hamlet? If they haven't tried it, they're going to try it for the very first time. In the pack, you've described the cigar beautifully, but the rest of the Hamlet series, what do you want them to know about Hamlet Paradis, and Hamlet?
So first of all, I have to tell you that when I do events, that's what I do the most. You know, I'm behind the brand, but I'm behind also Rocky Patel Cigars. So we are the same. So I just, I always said that there is a cigar for everybody out there. So our job as a smokers is to go into a cigar store and trying to find out, no matter what the brand name is, who is the one behind, who is the cigar that please you the best, and that will be your cigar. So it could be a Rocky Patel, it could be La Palina, Padron, Fuente, any cigar, your state, and so on. AJ, whoever, Plasencia. It doesn't really matter, you know. And I do, and that was my biggest shock when I came to this country. It's like people don't follow themselves; people follow what somebody else said,
Right.
and that's my own opinion. That's my humble opinion. You should believe more in yourself. You should go out there and try just to listen, but try yourself and get your own experience. So saying that, talking about Rocky Patel, I mean, it's a big, big, big family in cigars.
Sure.
You can be all over. It's like Disneyland for cigars. No matter what kind of smoker you are, you can go for, and you have everything in there. Going, drinking that, and going, because you asked me about Hamlet cigars,
Of course.
I seen pretty much right now and all over. Also, I have four brands. I have a mild to medium, I have a solid medium cigar, I have a medium plus, and I would say I have another one, which is this one, which is medium plus plus, but it's not even medium full. So the only thing I can tell you from my heart is like, go there, try it on, and get your own experience. Like we always gonna, when somebody makes something, our wish is like everybody enjoy and love what we do. But I mean, in real life, that never happens to anybody. There is always going to be somebody that hates what you do, or so like it or not, and there is a bunch of people that really love what you made. So far in 6 years, I'm so proud of myself. Because the one-on-one, and you guys know that anybody can tell you whatever they want, but when you are one-on-one with people, and when you reading people's faces in doing an event, nobody can fool you. You know who is enjoying what they're smoking and who
Absolutely.
is not. And of course, most of the people is gonna come back to you and tell you what you want to listen to. But if you are little, you pay a little attention to what people is doing, you will know that. So far, I'm guessing that there's more people that like what I do than people that hate what I do. So, which is a good feeling. It's a good feeling to have.
Absolutely.
That's the gas when you go to the pump, and make
Right.
you
Right.
keep going.
Hamlet, since day number one, I remember, and I think there are people who are going to remember the original size that you were rolling in this. There was a very special size that you made. Clay and I were lucky enough to be there when, right after you arrived and you were rolling the cigars, and we watched you throughout this process of the 187 blends. We were there. We witnessed it. It is real. Your love and your passion for this business, for tobacco, is real. And our love and our passion for you and what it is that you're bringing to the industry is very real. We're very humbled that you took the time to come on the show. I know that we're going to attempt to showcase you, rolling a cigar. And I know that either one of these cigars or a couple of these cigars are going to go to a lucky winner that's out there that's going to win some of your cigars that are handmade by Hamlet that are going to go directly to you. And we're very excited about that, brother. I think that when we talk to a lot of the other cigar manufacturers during this process, a lot of the guys compared cigars to rock and roll. They compared it to rhythm. Some of the people come from different industry or different pasts, and they all had their own comparisons. but you're the one who could sit down, who can really play with that tobacco, who can mold that tobacco in your hand and create these flavors live, at large and in charge and in person. And I think that your skill set is second to none, and it's very special. And the industry is very lucky to have you. I know that Clay and I are humbled, and we're lucky to have you as a friend.
Always, brother.
Yeah, man. And we thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Appreciate it, man.
My pleasure. Maybe people don't know the relationship that we have behind the scenes,
Yeah.
which is a family relationship. So I'm very happy also to meet you guys. And besides this business, is like family, and I think it's all about that. In life is life is life. You can have a lot now, less tomorrow, but what really counts is family, is people, human beings. So, I mean, my main goal is to try to make as many people happy as I can when they
Fantastic.
decide to take the time, have a seat in the cigar lounge. Either or, they take my cigar or take somebody else. It's okay. Nobody's wrong. That's the beauty about this business.
I love it,
As a
man.
consumer and as a salesman, nobody's forced to do anything. You get your choice. You take it. Maybe you got a good time, maybe not. So your next choice maybe is going to be the one that's going to bring you the happiness. That's it.
Hamlet, it's interesting that you say that, because I believe that we, and I mean we, Clay and I, we leave the ego at the door, and every door that we walk into. And as we've done these interviews with all of our friends and family, we can tell that they've left the ego at the camera, and they've talked about each other. They've talked about their love for one another. Since we started the cigar lockdown, the Rocky Patel family have been some of the biggest supporters, if not the biggest supporter.
Yeah,
They've come into the studio. They've taken over during live shows. I mean, you guys are our family. We share Thanksgivings together. We share Christmases together. We're going to see you guys very, very soon. 2020 has made this a very, very complicated time, but the time that we've spent in the Dominican Republic on the beach and at these wonderful dinners together, the time that we've spent in the factories together, working with tobacco together, and, Clay and I learning from gentlemen like yourself, we love you guys, man. We love you. We love the Rocky Patel family. Merry Christmas to you and to your family, and we will see you live on the show on December 30th, my brother.
Thank you, Hamlet.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks,
Thank
Ham.
you.
We appreciate you.
Get in
Much
there,
love,
folks.
bro.
Bye, guys.